The word reprint has brought on a ton of conversation in the Pokemon community over the past couple weeks. I'm curious to wonder what you guys think. Do you think Pokemon should reprint some of these Sword and Shield sets? Do you think it's even necessary? Because a lot of people have been going all over the place on whether or not these reprints are going to happen. And with MSRP changing at the end of March, Scarlet EX and Violet EX will release. That'll be the new Scarlet and Violet base set as we move on to a new generation of the TCG. With MSRP going up and pre-orders already starting to take place. Do you think Pokemon's really going to go and reprint some of these older sets from Sword and Shield, or even some of the newer sets from Sword and Shield? We recorded a video when Silver Tempest came out, right before its release, and that's what we're going to talk about today, Silver Tempest. We recorded a video about Silver Tempest having a shorter print run than what we saw from previous sets, and why that might play an impact on Silver Tempest moving forward, and the reprint or lack of reprints is also going to play a huge impact on this set moving forward. It's going to be very interesting to kind of watch, but I'm curious to get your take on whether or not you think Pokemon will reprint some of these sets, because as of right now, nothing is confirmed. There are no confirmed reprints, despite what you may have heard from other channels. A lot of distributors don't have information saying that Pokemon is going to reprint any of these sets. So a lot of people have been going back and forth talking about it. We've seen a lot of LGSs kind of bring it up. We've seen a lot of content creators kind of bring it up. As of right now, when it comes to booster box reprints, specifically booster box reprints, there's nothing confirmed moving forward. Now, that could change. There's a lot that could change yet, especially with how much time has elapsed since sets like Silver Tempest and Lost Origin came out. That reprint window still very, very large, but sets like Chilling Reign, sets like Evolving Skies, those reprint windows closing. They are getting smaller and smaller, but we're going to go over Silver Tempest today. Not every card, but it's very interesting to kind of look at Silver Tempest moving forward, because to me, Silver Tempest is kind of a sleeper, and I am personally not a huge fan of Silver Tempest. I would put it at the bottom of my trainer gallery sets. It's right around the middle of Sword and Shield for me. I like Lugia, but outside of Lugia in the set, there's not a whole lot that really makes me excited. The trainer gallery, in my opinion, my own personal opinion, is the weakest of all the trainer galleries that we've had. I know a lot of people will disagree with me, and that's totally fine. That's your complete opinion. I don't like it as much as what I like. Astral Radiance, Brilliant Stars, and Lost Origin is just my favorite. But there are some cards in there, like Judge, for example, that we're not going to talk about today. We're going to talk about some other singles, but Judge has increased over 300% since its release. It was like hovering around $3.50 right when the set released, and now it's selling for like $10, $11. Some of these trainer gallery cards really starting to take off, and some of these singles from Silver Tempest really starting to take off, despite the fact that most of the singles, most of the ultra rares are dropping like crazy. But to me, Silver Tempest is a sleeper set, because if they don't reprint it, it's already a small print run. It really reminds me of a set like Burning Shadows, for example. Burning Shadows being a little different because it was printed a ton. It was printed an absolute ton. The Sun and Moon base set, Burning Shadows, Crimson Invasion, Guardians Rising, those were printed an absolute ton because we had the Pokemon Go craze with Evolutions, which brought a bunch of people back in. We had the 20th anniversary, that brought a bunch of people back in, and the start of a new gen with Sun and Moon brought a lot of people back in. And so for those first four sets, those sets were printed a lot because a lot of people were cracking packs, a lot of people were enjoying it, and then the hobby kind of died off a little bit up until the pandemic started. But Silver Tempest also printed very little, not nearly as much as Burning Shadows is, but there's really only one major chase card in Silver Tempest. There's some other cards that people are excited about, but really people are just kind of cracking, looking for that alternate art Lugia, much like in Burning Shadows, where people are cracking just to open, hopefully find that Rainbow Rare Charizard. Now, I do think the Rainbow Rare Charizard is going to be a little bit more of a chase card for more people, whereas Silver Tempest, that alternate art Lugia, probably not as high, but the supply and demand is really what impacts the collectability of a set. And we have lower supply for Silver Tempest, but still decent demand to pull that one specific card. You could see, I think that's part of the reason we've seen these booster boxes shoot up in price so much over the past several weeks. I'm going to flip you guys around so we can kind of take a look at this, but I do think, depending on reprint size moving forward, Silver Tempest definitely could be a bit of a sleeper set, because I do think people are going to want to continue cracking it. Now, you will be able to find loose booster packs for quite some time, especially with Silver Tempest. In collection boxes, those will be out and about like crazy still. When it comes to booster boxes, probably going to be a little different. We'll see how much they decide to reprint things, especially with the change change in borders, obviously going to silver borders as opposed to yellow borders, that's going to make a huge difference. And price points, obviously. Why would Pokemon want to reprint a bunch of sets that are cheaper when Pokemon has already communicated that they're going to sell at the old MSRP for those prices, especially if you go to PokemonCenter.com. It's all very, very interesting to kind of pay attention to and kind of talk about. So definitely leave a comment down below letting me know what your thoughts are. So we're looking at Silver Tempest, and we're going to be comparing data from release day up until its current point. So we're just kind of looking over its last 3 months right now. You can see that kind of anomaly on the TCG player graph there where booster boxes dropped down to about $76 or so. That was kind of just 1 or 2 sales. May have been a glitch, may have been kind of a mistake on somebody's end. But regardless, for the most part, you have seen boxes sell right around $100 during release time. So 101.74 is kind of where the price point is that we put in for the low point. You can see it stayed consistently to that up until the middle of December before things started to take off a little bit. And that's really, middle of December is really where we started feeling the pain of booster box shortages. And this started playing an impact on pretty much everything. People were looking for Chilling Reign. They were looking for Fusion Strike. They were looking for Lost Origin, Astral Radiance, Silver Tempest, Brilliant Stars. I mean, anything that they could find anywhere around that $100 mark, because prices really started to climb because supply started drying up. And even Silver Tempest, a set that had just released in November, started to feel the impact of that supply shortage because distributors don't really have booster boxes in stock right now. The only way distributors are really getting booster boxes is buying from a third party, maybe a collector who has a bunch kind of locked away in a storage shed that is selling off a portion of it. Maybe they have a storefront that has a lot of them that were kind of sitting on, that were kind of selling off a high amount of it because they had too many. But Pokemon does not have any at their warehouse in Washington. So distributors don't really have access to get booster boxes to supply to these LGSs. So they're just pretty much out right now, which means we do have a bit of a shortage when it comes to booster boxes. And because of that, sets like Silver Tempest really starting to take off in the sealed department. Still well under MSRP. You're still looking at $125.31 where it's currently sitting. So you're about $15, $18 under MSRP, but definitely climbing and continuing to climb. Its high point of $127.39 and hit just a few weeks ago and continuing to move in that upward direction. If we look at the alternate art Lugia, this is the big one. This is the big chase in the set. As you can see, we're not paying too much attention to the front end of the graph. That's what it was selling for at pre-order pricing. Instead, we're looking right around release day, which is right around the middle of November, around November 11th or 12th or 9th, somewhere in that area. But if we look at the release day, this card was selling for $254.63. That's the market price of this card on release day. It has gone down considerably. It's dropped about 20% or so over the past couple months since release. Lugia definitely heading in the downward direction and seems to have leveled off a little bit, but you can see it is really close to a 3-month low right now, selling at $198.10 a couple weeks ago. That was its 3-month low. Now it's sitting currently at $201.42. So this chase card in the set continues to go down a little bit despite the fact that sealed is rising. Kind of reminds you of some other sets like Evolutions, for example, sets where sealed product really rises and some of the singles kind of fall. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of continues moving forward. Unknown V, the alternate art Unknown, same story, just a different card. Right around release time, it was selling for $66.40. That was its release day price. Kind of hit a wall right away. It really started going down. You can see it's currently sitting at $41. That's just above its 3-month low, which it hit at the beginning of January of $40.55. Cards like Lugia V the Rainbow Rare, this one's not doing too bad. It's kind of leveled off really since the beginning of December. This card doing much better, I think, than a lot of other Rainbow Rares. And Rainbow Rares are definitely something to pay attention to moving forward. It doesn't seem like we are going to be getting them anymore. Obviously, there's none in Crown Zenith, and with none of them being in Scarlet and Violet, this might be a good time to start looking at Rainbow Rares, especially from the Sun and Moon block that might be undervalued a little bit, because I do expect them to kind of increase over time, especially if Pokemon doesn't bring them back. But if you look at the release day price point for the Lugia V Rainbow Rare, is selling at $50.15. Dropped a little bit, but not too far. You can see it's sitting at $38.40 right now. That's up a little bit from where it was right around Christmas time at the end of December. It hit a 3-month low of $34.39, so it kind of gained a little bit. It jumped up about 20% since then, or 15% since then, sitting at $38.40 right now. If we look at the Regidrago V, kind of the same story as what we've seen so far from some of these other big chase cards. This one was people were pretty excited about this one. You can see it's selling on release day for $72.11. People were buying this alternate art for it, but it didn't perform well after that, and it's been trending downward consistently, sitting at a 3-month low right now of $36.07. Really continue. It's a really cool looking card, especially with the Lugia hanging out in the background. Really gives you that that Legends Arceus feel to it, but definitely not performing as well as I think a lot of people expected, anticipated. Like I said, $72.11 at release day. It's really dropped super hard since then. If we look at the gold Lugia V-Star, this one shot up quite a bit, especially right around release day. Gold Pokemon cards haven't performed extremely well outside of really that Snorlax from Chilling Reign. For the most part, they haven't performed too well. This one's not doing too bad. If you look at one point in time around release day, it was selling for $17.91. It jumped up to release day of $37.81. So just before release, it was selling for $17.91 as a pre-order price, and then jumped up to that $37.81 price point. It's gone down a little bit, but still really close to that $30 mark, hovering at $29.92 currently. Alolan Vulpix V-Star is the first card that we've really seen take off and done extremely well. Look at where it was on release day, $12.90. That's also its low point. So its low point since it's been out was what it pre-ordered for, was what it sold for on release day at $12.90. It's done nothing but take off since then, sitting at $20.30. So it's up about 40% since its release and continuing to climb in the upward direction. The Skuntank V, the alternate art, this is kind of like, this is probably the least favorite of everybody's alternate art from Silver Tempest. There might be some Skuntank fans out there, but this one not performing overly well. On release day, it was sitting at $28.76. It's really just kind of kept falling since then. You can see it stayed fairly consistent in the middle of November all the way up until around Christmas time before it hit a 3-month low right at the middle of January. It hit $19.12. It's gained a little bit of that back, but still sitting at $20.09 currently. The full art Lugia V, beautiful card, very competitive. Lugia has done extremely well in the competitive circuit. You can see on release it was selling for $22.51. It stayed extremely consistent pretty much through its entire release for the first few months, especially because of that competitive playability. Lugia V, the regular Lugia, the Lugia V-Star done very well since release because of how well they are doing in the competitive play field. You can see it hit a 3-month low right around Christmas time of $17.60. It's recovered a little bit, sitting right between its 3-month low and its release day price point, sitting at $19.16 currently. If we look at some of the trainer gallery cards, Rayquaza VMAX definitely trending in the upward direction. It's gone backwards a little bit. On release day, it was sitting at $44.41. It did drop at the end of November down to $40.01, but that was its lowest price point since release. It's climbed up a little bit. Some of these trainer gallery cards are very important to continue to keep an eye on because some of them continue to rise, especially some of the ones that are easier to pull. People just really like the art rare kind of facade when it comes to these trainer gallery cards. So definitely something to pay attention to moving forward, especially as we move into the art rare releases of Scarlet EX and Violet EX. But you can see sitting at $45.31 currently. That's above the price point that it was selling at on release day. If we look at the Friends and Galar, kind of the same story, doing pretty well. Release, it was sitting right at $25.21. Now it's dropped a little bit since then. You're looking at about a 20% drop so far. It's sitting at a 3-month low currently of $19.22. But with the Friends and Hisui and the Friends and Sinnoh cards coming out, this one might gain a little bit more popularity back because people might want to collect all three. You can see right at release it was selling at $25.21. Not too far off from that at $19.22 currently. The Duraludon VMAX has done nothing but go up since release, and this is one of those trainer gallery cards. If you look outside the main series set, cards like Alolan Vulpix Rainbow Rare, even though Alolan Vulpix full art, those have kind of done well. Those are really the only two in the main series set. If you want to see Silver Tempest singles perform well, you're going to have to look in the trainer gallery because some of those have done extremely well since release. If you look, Duraludon VMAX is a perfect example of that. You can see right around release date it was selling for $13.38. Before that, it was pre-ordering for even cheaper at $13.04. That's its 3-month low, and then just continued to climb since then, up about 20% from its release, sitting at $15.94 currently. That's a 3-month high for Duraludon VMAX. The Survivor V has done very consistent ever since its release. It released right around $18. It's selling currently for about $15.50. You can see its 3-month low of $14.83. It hit at the beginning of December, but for the most part, it stayed right around that $15 mark, between $15 and $16 pretty much since its release. Really cool artwork. A lot of people like the Superior V. Same thing with the Blaziken VMAX. A lot of people are big fans of that one. Pre-ordered for a little bit higher, but on release, it was selling for $17.80. It did drop down to $13.04 right around Christmas time. It's gained a little bit of that back, sitting at $14.33 currently right between its release date price point and its 3-month low. The Blaziken V did extremely well right after release. You can see it shot all the way up right around that $20 mark. So at release time, it was at $9.62. That was a 3-month low for this card, and then shot up right around that $20 mark before coming back down to earth, hovering right around $13 and stayed fairly consistent since then, sitting at $13.96 currently. You'll have to let me know what you think in Silver Tempest. This is the last Trainer Gallery card that I have listed here, but there are more that have performed really well. Like I said, that Judge has done extremely well, and then there's some from the set that haven't done well that are still selling for around $1 or $2. So let me know in the comment section what you think. Let me know what you think about reprints. Let me know what you think of Silver Tempest. I think it's a very, very good set moving forward when it comes to sealed boxes, because I don't think that they're going to print a whole lot more of it. Even if they do announce reprints, I don't know if we'll necessarily see major reprints, but even if we do, still not going to be printed as much as what we've seen some of the sets in the past. So it'll be very interesting to kind of keep an eye on moving forward. Hope you guys like the content. If you do, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. If you don't like the content, don't do that. Don't hit the subscribe button, but I appreciate you watching anyways. Leave a like and a comment, because it does go a long way for the algorithm. If you could, it really helps share the channel out there, spread the channel out there. But regardless, thank you guys so much for everything. I'll be back tomorrow going over some alternate arts. Until then, peace.